We'll be doing prayer letters next week just to forewarn you. They're starting to pile up, but I wanted to do one more week of Obadiah. And I'll tell you what, I thought, I'll do something easy. I'll do this one little chapter book. Wow. It's kind of blew up. I thought my head was going to explode today. Just trying to wrap my mind around all the things that this little book applies to. We looked last week, and I'm going to correct something that I said. First thing to do is turn to 1 Kings. 1 Kings chapter 11. And it actually was creating a problem for me as far as understanding the area, because it says there, verse 23, and God stirred up another adversary, Rezin, the son of Eliada, which fled from his lord Hadarezer. Here you go, that's good. King of Zobah. And he gathered men unto him, became captain over a band when David slew them of Zobah. And they went to Damascus and dwelt therein and reigned in Damascus. And he talking about this Rezin or Rezin, he was an adversary to Israel all the days of Solomon, beside the mischief that Hadad did. And he abhorred Israel. Well, the context is Rezin, not Hadad. It just throws Hadad in there as a incidental, the mischief that Hadad did. But he said that this Rezin abhorred Israel and reigned over Syria. Well, when I first read it, and I wasn't alone, I went to Unger's Bible Dictionary, and sure enough, you know what? They said the same thing I said, and we're both wrong. And that is that this Hadad, he went to and dwelt in Edom. He was the king of Edom. He didn't go up and reign over Syria. So it was just the way I read it. When I first read it, I thought that it was Hadad that ended up in Syria, reigning over Syria, and I couldn't understand, he's an Edomite. Well, that wasn't the case. So if I confused you last week, I'm sorry, and if I confused you just now, I'm sorry. Best I can do. And the reason I know that is there's another reference. I had preached a message one time and used the name Rezin. And in Isaiah chapter 9, there's a guy from Syria. Isaiah chapter 9, verse 8, but it's spelled just a little different. Chapter 9, verse 8, and the Lord sent a word unto Jacob, and it hath lighted upon Israel, and all the people shall know, even Ephraim, the inhabitant of Samaria, that say in the pride and stoutness of heart, the bricks are fallen down, but we will build with hewn stones. The sycamores are cut down, but we will change them into cedars. And this is kind of like Israel talking that they're going to rebuild themselves. And it says, therefore the Lord shall set up the adversaries of Rezin. And I did a message called The Adversaries of Rezin, using a little wordplay. And I will use the adversaries of Rezin against him and join his enemies together, the Syrians before and the Philistines behind. Because Rezin is the king of Syria. So that kind of just proved it to me. But what we do know is that the Edomites, remember, Esau is Edom. The Edomites do not allow Israel. We know there are two things they did that the Lord pronounced this judgment that we get in Obadiah. The first thing is they wouldn't allow the children of Israel to pass through the area up to the promised land, even though they said, we will not attack you, we will not take of your stuff, we will watch our P's and Q's all the way through, just let us go through. This land is not ours, the Lord didn't give it to us, but they wouldn't let them through. They end up having to go around and everything. And there's something else I want to say about that. I can't remember. The second thing was that when Nebuchadnezzar takes Jerusalem, he piles on, or Edom piles on with Nebuchadnezzar. Now think about this a second. Esau or Edom, they're brothers to the Israelites. Esau's Jacob's brother. The Edomites are related to the Israelites. And here they turned on them and they helped the king of Babylon to sack Jerusalem. And when they did that, boy, that's when the Lord just, he put an X on them and said, okay, you're marked, you're done, you're through. And we started looking at these differences because from the very beginning, the Lord said, the elder shall serve the younger. And he talked about two nations being in her womb. And then I saw this contrast, and it just keeps going and going and going. And like I said, my mind was about to explode this morning because I could not get it all to come together in my head. It was just too much. It was just going in too many different directions. You'll see what I mean. But first off, think about Jacob. His name means supplanter, but when he gets to know God, he gets renamed. But what did it say about Jacob? It said he was a plain man, didn't it? It says he was a plain man. You know what the Bible says about the common man? Yeah, the common man received him gladly. Esau, which means red, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but it said he was a man of the field, and then something triggered. We just read a verse about that. The field is what? He's a man of the world. That's a definition of the word field in the Bible. He was a man of the field. He's a man of the world. So we have a plain man, a common man, the kind that received Jesus gladly. And then we have Esau, who's, he's a he's a red-blooded American man. But he's a man of the world. Notice that Jacob receives the birthright, even if it was done through sly means, but he did get the birthright, whereas it's rejected by Esau. So Jacob received it, Esau rejected it. Jacob is renamed Israel, which means prince. Edom, which is red, so Esau means red, Edom means red, nothing changed. But Edom is the Hebrew word for Rome. Somebody said that last week. Edom is the Hebrew word for Rome. Okay? Now think about this a second. Red. You know what you have in Rome? You have cardinals who are dressed in red. You know what they call their hierarchy? Dukes. Duke of Earl. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. For some reason, that's the only part of that song I know. But they had dukes, okay? Whereas the Lord changed his name, said, thou art a prince. That's what Israel means, prince, prince of God, or prince of the Lord. Israel, they are the children of promise, and they're given the holy city, Jerusalem. Esau, or Edom, are the people of my curse. And what does, when we're talking about Rome, when we're talking about Babylon over there, what's the issue is the accursed city? Also typified by Jericho. You have under Jacob the kingdom of heaven on earth. You have under Esau or Edom, Idumea, hell on earth. You have a lake of fire in Isaiah chapter 34. So the contrast is so clear. It's talking about, it's dealing with salvation. It's also dealing with this world and its system and the Lord and his system. And the one he loves and the other one he hates. Okay? So Obadiah chapter 1, verse 1. It says, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador to send among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. The the ambassador here is one from Babylon, from sending an ambassador to the Edomites, saying, "Arise ye and let us rise up against her in battle." So, at the time, there's a lot of rumors going around. You'll find, if you were to run the word rumor, there's rumors of this, rumors of that. In fact, Babylon hears a rumor, and they got to get out of Dodge for a while and disengage from the fight and go fight another battle someplace else. But here it says, this is the Lord's rumor. Lord says, well, I'm going to spread a little rumor of my own. So historically, this is a reference to Nebuchadnezzar returning from his attack on Judah in 587 BC. He goes down to fight with Egypt. There is this phenomenon that repeats itself. It'll repeat itself again. That when Israel's surrounded by an enemy, they hear this rumor that there's, somebody in their flank is causing problems, and they have to go fight somebody else and then come back and finish the job. It happened under Nebuchadnezzar, it happened under Titus, and it's going to happen again in the Great Tribulation. And they hear this rumor. So Babylon goes down to fight, or the king of Babylon goes to fight with Egypt. But when he goes down there, he passes through Edom on the way. And that's where, it's this ambassador that says, "Arise ye, let us rise up against her in battle." And it doesn't take much to persuade the Edomites to jump on board. And remember, Esau is Jacob's brother. Talk about a betrayal. Turn to Jeremiah chapter 49. Jeremiah 49, pretty much the whole chapter, but look at verse 7. Let me make sure I'm in the right, almost got in the wrong place here. 49:7. Concerning Edom, thus saith the Lord of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? In other words, are you stupid? Look at verse 13 to 16. For I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord, that Bozrah shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste. Read Isaiah 34. I have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent unto the heathen, saying, Gather ye together and come against her, and rise up to her to battle. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen, and despised among men. Thy terribleness hath deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill. Though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord. Also Edom shall be a desolation, everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. We're going to read something very close to that. It's like, it's not that one was copying the other. Don't believe that. Dr. Ruckman says he doesn't believe that. It's like when you're reading 2 Peter chapter 2 and Jude. Wow. The parallels are incredible, but it's obvious that it's a different word from the Lord. There's just enough difference there that it's teaching you something. They both complement each other. And I believe that's the case here, even though the thing is very close. So what we see there is that he's asking, he goes, what's wrong with you people? Did you lose your mind? Have you lost your brains? That you would go and do this thing? And they did it. And the Lord said, okay, I'm going to fix you for it then. I'm going to take care of you. Verse 2, Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. From the time that Esau conquers the Horites, who are the ones who originally possessed Mount Seir, Edom, from the time he dispossessed them of the land and took possession of it, till the time of Christ, Edom was unable to defeat anyone. Okay? They were unable to defeat anyone. What Esau did was prostitute himself out to whoever showed him favor. And that's why that word Edom in Rome is perfect. Edom is a perfect type of Rome in that respect as being a harlot for hire. Because that's exactly what Babylon did. And we're going to keep seeing these parallels back and forth. You have this. Now, it's not 100%. Rome used to be the power of the world. But if you think about now, Rome, religious Rome, the Vatican City, officially, the Vatican City State is an independent city-state enclaved within Rome, Italy, with an area of 44 hectares or 110 acres and a population of about 1,000. It is the smallest sovereign state in the world by both area and population. And he said, "Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised." Well, we're despised by Bible-believing Christians, that's for sure. When God decides to destroy Babylon, we rejoice at her destruction. Because we know her history. We know the souls that she's damned. We know the persecution that she's put against true Christians and the real church. You know, you think people are studying Catholicism, think they're studying church history. You're not studying church history. You have to study local churches and houses. You have to study these little works all over the world to study church history. Not this huge religious mammoth. That's the whore. All you're doing is studying the enemy of God, is what you're studying. I don't care if they could use the name of Jesus every day, which they do. Anyway, let me move on. So, he said, "I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised." Look at verse 3. Now, they were greatly despised by the Lord. He said he hated them. "The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?" Now, that sounds strangely familiar. And you know what pride is, don't you? You know what pride is? You know, we hear about, you take pride in your work. I'm proud of myself. I'm really proud of myself. I don't ever say that. Because why? Because pride is a false sense of worth. That's what pride is. It's a false sense of worth. It's not an actual. Listen, you don't have to, if you're really that good, right? You don't have to pat yourself on the back and think yourself wonderful. Everybody knows you're wonderful. But this pride is this false sense of worth. You think you're somebody, and they thought they were somebody. Let's turn to Ezekiel 28. Here's somebody else thought they were somebody. And notice it says, "The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee." There's somebody else it's self-deception, but it's deception. Ezekiel 28:14. "Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God." Isn't that a high habitation? It's pretty high, isn't it? "Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness." See, he deceived himself, thinking of himself more highly than he ought. You know what the Bible tells a Christian to do? Have a sober view. Now, a sober view is, "I'm just a toe jam under Jesus' toenail." That's a little too low, okay? It's a proper assessment of who and what you are. You know who you are. You know what you are. You know how good and how bad you are. So the thing is not because, and some people are so proud in their humility. I have this thing, I don't know if I still got it somewhere hanging up, where it says that humility is a strange thing. The minute you think you've got it, you've lost it. It's the truth. "I'm just a humble servant." No, not anymore. It is. It's a fleeting thing, But This says, thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty, and thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. Isn't that what he just said there? Well, he's saying, who shall bring me down to the ground? The Lord says, I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings that may behold thee. So Edom's position is upon a mountain. It gives them a false sense of safety. They think they've got the high ground. You know this whole mess is over a mountain, right? Sure is. It's all about a mountain. It was about real estate from the beginning. It's about real estate now, and it'll be about real estate in the end. In Isaiah 14:13, it says, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. He wanted himself high. And it was about a mountain. And the only way to scale a mountain is to go up it. And when you go up it, you're always headed north. Because you're always going up a mountain. So he wanted to ascend the sides of the north. In Revelation 17:9, remember, Edom is also a name for Rome. And here's the mind that hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Okay. Do you really? All right, we're going to put out a worldwide search for that Bible. Those mountains are actually named over there. I did not know that. I'll bet that's interesting. Okay, now, verse 4. Hang on to your hats. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Well, there are 2 nations that use the eagle as their national emblem. Well, I'm going to mention Germany a little bit later. Actually 3. Germany's another one, but these 2 are particularly have to do with the stars. Rome and the United States both use the eagle as their national emblem. When America put a man on the moon, you know what they said? The eagle has landed. And you know what? And where it landed was called the nest. Okay? She made her nest among the stars. You know what's on our flag? Stars. Okay. Yeah, just a coincidence. White people are the Edomites. Horror. No, but there's someone else. There's Rome. You go back and look, and the emblem of ancient Rome was the eagle. And Rome becomes the habitation of fallen stars or devils. Revelation 18:2, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, become the habitation of devils, hold of every foul spirit, the cage of every unclean, hateful bird. We'll talk about in just a few minutes here something about Germany, because he mentioned Germany, and I thought of them too. Let's go on and continue to read here. So I'm trying to make a historical application, and I'm also trying to, listen, the historical application's good, but I'm telling you, man, it's about something else in the future. And it looks like it's going to deal with Babylon. That Rome and Edom are the same, and you just have to start drawing the parallels between the two. And man, you know what? Not only does that area we're talking about, Edom, we know that it becomes a lake of fire in the millennium. I mean, literally, he sets a fire in the south country and sets that thing on fire when he comes back. And it burns for 1,000 years and then on throughout eternity. But what does he do to Rome? What does he do to Babylon? He burns her with fire. We're going to read that here. But look at verse 5. It says, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers come to thee, will they not leave some grapes? You know, it's usually when somebody comes in to rape and pillage. They usually get their fill and leave, and you get the scraps. But he's kind of saying, look, I'm going to bring some folks in, they're going to take everything. There ain't going to be nothing left. He says in verse 6, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? So the end of Edom is a complete and total sacking. Even if they've hidden it, they're going to find it. That's unusual. Even if they try to hide what they've got, because how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Now, I don't know if there's probably something else to that. But then I got to think about Nazi Germany. And their emblem is a black eagle. A black eagle. And they persecuted Jacob. And then the Lord practically wiped Germany off the map. I was going to try to apply how poor they were, but that was before they put their hand against Jacob. But man, after World War I, you talk about poor. That's where you have that Weimar Republic, where it took a wheelbarrow full of money, marks, to go buy a loaf of bread. But that was before that, so I can't really apply that. But even after, devastated a good portion of Germany. Like I said, it's not 100%. What he's going to do to Edom, there's nothing going to be left. It's all going to be a lake of fire. But also when we talk about Rome, the same thing's going to happen. Now notice in verse 7, here we go. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. There's the old expression, life is like a wheel. They betrayed their brother, right? Well, now the companions that they've been hanging with betray them. So Edom ultimately, historically, is betrayed by those that she aligned with. But now look in Revelation chapter 17. That's exactly what happens to Babylon. What's Edom another name for? Rome. Revelation 17. Revelation 17 verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. You see that 10 horns there? Look at verse, see what he did in my verse. Look at verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Why? They're aligned with the beast. Verse 14. These shall make war with the Lamb shall overcome them. He is Lord of lords, King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Now look at verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore? I thought they were aligned with her. I thought they were with her. I thought they were with the beast. All of a sudden now they hate the whore. They've turned on her. And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For God hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. You say, what in the world's going on? Well, Rome is just a vehicle to get what the Antichrist actually wants. He has this worldwide religion through Rome, and everybody's just bowing and worshiping the beast, and that's what it says. But that's not what he wants. He doesn't want to sit in a 110-acre Vatican, even though he might be the religious leader over all the earth. That's not what he wants. What he wants is Mount Zion, the one on this earth. What he wants is a seat that's in Mount Zion that's on this earth. And he's going to help them Jews get that temple rebuilt. And he's going to get himself over to Jerusalem, over or to the temple, inside the temple, inside the Holy of Holies and sit on that mercy seat and claim to be God. The only problem is he has now vacated a seat. He has vacated a seat of authority where the Pope speaks ex cathedra, out of the chair, where he speaks infallibly. He has left a seat of authority open. And if Satan be divided against Satan, how shall his kingdom stand? So those 10 beasts, or those 10 kings, they agree that they should give that kingdom to the beast, so they destroy Rome. They burn Babylon. They turn on her, just as the allies of Edom turn on her. See the picture? Bible says that which hath been shall be. And all we're doing is we're just finding these pictures, and we're just having to pick them up, and they're just giving you these hints, these little things, like Edom being red, or Edom being the name of Rome. Well, that should trigger everything. Is anybody lost? I don't know. I know you're all saved. Is there anybody that doesn't understand? Okay. It's a lot to take in. Man, it was wearing me out this morning trying, I'm like, blah, 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 because it just keeps going. Look at verse 8. So when you see that confederacy verse 7, when you see that confederacy up there, those are 10 confederate nations. Verse 8, shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and understanding out of the mount of Esau? This is almost indicating that there were some wise men in Edom. Well, the only reason there were wise men in Edom is because they were getting their wisdom from someone named Job. Job chapter 1, verse 1. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, one that feared God and eschewed evil. Now turn to Lamentations chapter 4. That's a little book after Jeremiah. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 21. Lamentations 4:21. Everybody there? Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of where? The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, thou shalt make thyself naked. So, you know what we have? In the book of Job, we have the betrayal of Edom because his 3 friends turn on him. In the book of Job, just as Edom turned on Israel or on Judah. Job's 3 friends, would you agree that when you're reading them, they're fairly wise, but they perverted their wisdom? And I've said this before. You know what they became? They became Calvinists. I don't know why that keeps coming up. They became Calvinists. You know why? Because they denied Job to be God's elect, just as the Calvinist denies Israel to be God's elect. They predestinated Job as a vessel fitted for destruction, just as Israel now is fitted as a vessel fitted for destruction. That's what they were saying. They were telling Job that, look, man, I don't care how good you've been. It's obvious that God is going to destroy you. Because his wife says, why you retain thy integrity? Curse God and die. His 3 friends are saying, I knew there was something wrong with you. I knew it. I've just got that feeling. There's something about you. Ooh, how wicked are you? Job's sitting there on an ash heap, man, scraping the infection from him with the boils all over his body. And these 3 friends are just going at him. These Edomites. It just keeps going back there. Now all of a sudden my head's starting to explode. By the way, Babylon's destruction takes place in a day. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, destroy the wise men out of Edom? It happens in one day. In fact, it happens in 1 hour. 1 hour. Revelation 18:19, they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city wherein was made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour is she made desolate. Then verse 9, and we're going to have to quit there. And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. Now he mentions Teman, and this is something that you'll get just by reading your Bible. You'll see how God uses an individual's name to represent a people. Just like when he says Jacob. Sometimes he's referring to Jacob the individual. Sometimes he's referring to the whole nation of Israel, right? That's a personification of the name of more than just the person. Now it can even be a place. But he does that with Teman, and Teman was Esau's grandson from his firstborn son, Eliphaz. In Genesis 36:15, it says, these were the dukes of the sons of Esau. Okay. The sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau, Duke Teman. Then it mentions Duke Omar and Duke Zepho and Duke Kenaz, well, that's the world for you, dukes. I guess that's another title for like Prince. But the Bible personifies people's names like that to mean nations and peoples. For instance, in Numbers 23:21, it says he hath not beheld iniquity in Jacob. Well, neither hath he seen perverseness in Israel. Well, he's referring to the nation. The Lord, his God, is with him, and the shout of a king is among them. At the time he said that, he's talking about Israel, not just talking about Jacob. In Genesis 9:25, and he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. We could have been talking about Canaan, one of the children of Ham. But we know he's not referring to just one son. He's referring to an entire race of people when he refers to Canaan. In Hosea 7:8, he says, Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. A cake not turned is what? Half-baked. Half-baked. That's where we get the expression, half-baked. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Ephraim was one of Jacob's children. Also one of the tribes of Israel. And also the 10 northern tribes. The kingdom, he referred to them as Ephraim. So you can see that you get these, just remember that when you're reading your Bible, it could be a broader sense. I can't tell you how many years before it dawned on me that, you know why he calls them Ephraim, right? Their capital was Ephraim. It took me, maybe you got it. I didn't get it. I didn't get it for a long time. I keep wondering, why is he calling them Ephraim? Or who's he just talking about the tribe of Ephraim? Ephraim is the one that apostatizes and doesn't even show up in the book of Revelation. So and then I realize he's talking about all the 10 tribes. Why? Because their capital is Ephraim. So he refers to them as Ephraim. Just like Judah is the capital of Judah. Judah and Ephraim. Okay. So when you're reading your Bible, when you see that, you'll know it's in a broader sense. So when he says, O Teman, he's still talking about Edomites. He's just referring to them by one of the grandsons of Esau. Does that make sense? Okay. Whew. All right. Now, what didn't I say? One of the things to note here is when David and Joab went after Edom, we read this last week where they wiped them out almost to the man. See, you got to finish the job. It's like the Agagite, Agag. He surfaces later, and guess what? That Edomite surfaces later because they didn't get them all. They missed one of the king's seed named Hadad. He goes down to Egypt, Pharaoh takes a liking to him, and he lives there for many years, and he helps him, and he blesses him. And he's got some servants down there too that are Edomites. And you know what happens, man? They build up their population and say, hey, we want to go home. He says, well, I'd rather you stay. He says, no, we're going to go anyway. Okay, well, here, I want you to have my daughter to wife. So he's got a North African bride. All I can say is that where there was Shemite and Hamite, there is now more Hamite than Shemite in those Edomites. Okay? All right. Go ahead and cut it off.